Have you ever come out of the shower feeling a little faint, your heart pounding perhaps a bit too fast, and wondered if it's just getting older? What if I told you that the way we shower, something we've done practically every day for years, could subtly raise our chances of a stroke? It might seem hard to believe, but for many of us in our later years, small, everyday habits in the bathroom can make a significant difference to our heart and brain health. Imagine this: it's late, the house is still, and a warm shower seems like the perfect way to relax before bed. Or perhaps you prefer an early morning splash of cold water to help you wake up. These moments seem so normal, even comforting. But they can hold hidden risks that doctors have been warning about for years, risks that particularly affect those of us over 60. In this video, Dr. Anya Sharma will be discussing 7 showering habits that could, without you even knowing, increase your risk of a stroke. Some of these may surprise you because they feel so ordinary, almost like second nature. And that's precisely why they're risky. We often don't question them until something serious occurs. If you've ever wondered if your showering routine is as safe as it could be, please type the number 1 in the comments. If it's something you've never considered before, just type 0. And please, don't forget to subscribe to Health 365, because your health is worth daily care and attention. So, let's get started and talk about the very first showering habit that could be quietly putting your health at risk. Taking a shower late at night might seem like a wonderful way to unwind after a long day, but for us older adults, it can gradually become a risky habit. As the sun goes down, the temperature outside often drops, and so does our body's natural core temperature. When we were younger, our blood vessels adapted quickly, expanding and contracting to keep our circulation stable. But as we reach our 60s and beyond, our arteries tend to lose some of that flexibility. They become less responsive to sudden changes, stiffer, and more fragile. Stepping into a shower late at night, particularly in a cool bathroom, can cause those vessels to constrict suddenly. That constriction limits the flow of blood to the heart and brain, which can increase the risk of a stroke. Doctors often explain it this way: when the body cools down quickly, the vessels react like an old hose, stiff and brittle. Instead of stretching smoothly, they tighten up, and blood pressure can spike or circulation can drop in just a few minutes. One of Dr. Sharma's patients, a 70-year-old gentleman from Ohio, had a habit of showering close to midnight. He felt it helped him sleep better. But one cold evening, he came out of the bathroom and told his wife he felt lightheaded. Moments later, he collapsed on the couch. At the hospital, tests revealed that he had suffered a stroke. The doctors explained that the sudden constriction of his blood vessels from showering late at night was a significant contributing factor. His family was shocked because this habit had seemed harmless for years, and yet it nearly cost him his life. So, how can you protect yourself? The safest option is to avoid showering too late in the evening. If you enjoy evening showers, try to bathe earlier, before the late-night temperature drop makes your body more vulnerable. Make sure your bathroom is warm before you step in. Running the hot water for a few minutes or using a small heater can help to stabilize the environment. And most importantly, listen to your body. If you feel dizzy, chilled, or your heart races while you're showering, step out immediately and rest. Staying healthy at this age doesn't mean giving up all your comforts. It means making adjustments to your routines so they support your brain and heart health. And as we continue, you'll see that even a refreshing cold shower in the morning can carry unexpected dangers. Many people swear by a cold shower in the morning, claiming it's the quickest way to feel awake and energized. That icy splash might seem harmless, but for older adults, it can quietly place significant stress on the heart and brain. The moment cold water touches your skin, your blood vessels constrict sharply. It's the body's natural way of preserving warmth, but it also forces the heart to pump harder through those narrowed vessels. For someone in their 60s or 70s, that sudden increase in pressure can be overwhelming. Think of it as trying to force water through a pipe that's already old and stiff. The pressure builds up quickly, and instead of flowing smoothly, it can cause cracks or blockages. In the human body, that means a spike in blood pressure and, in some cases, the formation of dangerous clots that could travel to the brain. And that's when a stroke can occur without warning. Dr. Sharma will never forget what happened to her neighbor, Mr. Harris. At 70, he was strong, independent, and loved trying new health trends. After reading about the benefits of cold showers, he decided to start his mornings with freezing water. For a couple of weeks, he told everyone how refreshed he felt. But one morning, after stepping out of the shower, he collapsed on his porch. He was rushed to the hospital, where doctors confirmed that he had suffered a stroke. The stress of that sudden shock to his blood vessels was simply too much for his aging body. His family was devastated because it all began with what seemed like such a harmless routine. So, what's the safer choice? Instead of jumping straight into cold water, use lukewarm water. And if you like, gradually cool it down towards the end. This way, your body adjusts slowly, without the shock. And if you have high blood pressure or any kind of heart condition, it's best to avoid cold showers altogether. Protecting your health isn't about giving up every comfort. It's about being mindful with the small, daily choices you make. And as we'll see next, even the opposite extreme, soaking for too long in hot water, can create risks that are just as serious. Many people love the comforting feeling of a long soak in hot water. It feels relaxing, like the perfect way to soothe sore muscles and calm the mind. But staying in a hot bath for too long can quietly put older adults in serious danger. When your body is exposed to high heat, your blood vessels expand. This sudden dilation lowers your blood pressure, sometimes so quickly that the brain and heart don't get the blood supply they need. For someone with high blood pressure or heart disease, this drop can be life-threatening. Our vessels react the same way when exposed to hot water for too long. They expand, the pressure falls, and circulation slows down. That sluggish blood flow increases the chances of clots forming. And if a clot blocks blood flow to the brain, a stroke can occur. Dr. Sharma's older brother, who is in his late 60s, experienced this firsthand. He enjoyed soaking in the tub after gardening, often sitting in hot water for over half an hour. One evening, after a particularly long bath, he stood up and suddenly felt faint. Within moments, he collapsed. Thankfully, he was rushed to the hospital in time. The doctors explained that the combination of vessel dilation and low blood pressure had nearly triggered a stroke. That day changed the way he thought about relaxing in the tub. To stay safe, it's best to limit hot baths or showers to about 10 to 15 minutes. Make sure the water feels warm, not scalding. If you start to feel lightheaded or your heart races, get out immediately and rest. And if you have a history of high blood pressure or cardiovascular issues, talk with your doctor before making hot baths a habit. Taking care of your health doesn't mean giving up comfort. It means knowing when a relaxing soak crosses the line into danger. And just like skipping a late-night shower or avoiding cold water in the morning, this small change could save your life. Next, let's talk about another common mistake: forgetting to drink water before stepping into the shower. Most people don't think twice about showering without drinking water first. After all, it's just a shower, not a workout. But the truth is, stepping into the bathroom when your body is even slightly dehydrated can be risky, especially for older adults. When your body lacks enough fluids, your blood becomes thicker, almost like syrup. Thicker blood flows more slowly, making it easier for clots to form. And once a clot reaches the brain, the risk of a stroke rises sharply. Doctors often call dehydration a silent danger. As we age, our sense of thirst often weakens, so many older adults don't realize they're already running low on fluids. Then, when warm steam from the shower makes the body sweat lightly, dehydration worsens without warning. The combination of thicker blood and slower circulation can quickly push the body towards danger. Dr. Sharma's aunt, who is 68, once had a frightening experience. She often skipped drinking water in the morning and went straight into the shower. One day, she felt lightheaded and nearly fainted as she stepped out of the bathroom. After that scare, her doctor told her that dehydration had made her blood too thick and her circulation too weak. Since then, she always drinks about 1 glass of water, say 8 ounces or so, about 15 to 20 minutes before showering. A few weeks later, she noticed the difference. No more dizziness, no more sudden fatigue. That simple adjustment gave her peace of mind every morning. The guidance is clear. Drinking a glass of water at least 15 minutes before stepping into the shower helps give your body time to absorb it and stabilize your circulation. If you wait until the very last second, your body doesn't benefit as much. Keeping a glass ready by your bedside or in the kitchen makes it easier to remember. It might seem like a small step, but it protects your brain and heart in powerful ways. And as we move forward, we'll see why showering when you're already feeling dizzy, weak, or unwell is another risk that older adults should never ignore. Many people think a quick shower can help when they're feeling under the weather, whether it's a headache, dizziness, or just a heavy, tired feeling. But for older adults, showering when the body already feels unwell can actually make things much worse. When you're dizzy or weak, your brain is already struggling to get enough oxygen and blood. The sudden changes in temperature during a shower add extra strain, sometimes pushing the body over the edge and triggering a stroke. Doctors warn that these moments are especially risky because the body's signals are often ignored. Older adults may dismiss dizziness as just fatigue or a headache as something minor, but these can be early warning signs of circulation problems or rising blood pressure. Adding the stress of a shower, whether it's hot or cold, only increases the danger. Dr. Sharma remembers what happened to her neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins. She was 65 and often had mild headaches. One afternoon, she decided to take a warm shower, hoping it would help her relax. But minutes later, she collapsed in the bathroom. Her husband rushed her to the hospital, where doctors diagnosed her with a mild stroke. They explained that the headache she felt earlier wasn't just a small discomfort. It was her body warning her. The heat from the shower lowered her blood pressure further, cutting off blood supply to the brain. Fortunately, she received treatment in time, but the experience taught her never to ignore unusual symptoms. The advice is simple but powerful. If you feel dizzy, unusually tired, or develop a sudden headache, do not step into the shower. Rest, drink some water, and give your body time. If your symptoms persist, call your doctor instead of pushing through with your routine. The shower can wait. Your health cannot. Small choices like postponing a shower when you feel unwell can prevent life-changing consequences. And as we'll see next, even something that seems harmless, like showering right after exercise, can be another hidden danger for older adults. After a good workout, or even heavy yard work, many people feel the urge to jump straight into the shower. The idea of washing away the sweat immediately feels refreshing. But for older adults, this habit can be risky. When you exercise, your blood vessels naturally expand to carry more oxygen to your muscles. At the same time, your body loses water through sweat, leaving you slightly dehydrated. If you step into the shower right away, especially with warm or hot water, your blood pressure can drop suddenly. That drop can cause the brain and heart to be starved of oxygen, sometimes triggering a stroke. Doctors often compare it to shifting gears too quickly in a car. The engine has been running at high speed, and if you slam it into neutral without letting it cool down, parts wear out faster. In the body, it's the sudden shift from exercise to showering that shocks the circulatory system. Dr. Sharma's older cousin, who is in his late 60s, had a close call with this. He loved his morning walks and light jogging around the park. One summer day, after sweating heavily, he came home and went straight into the shower without drinking water or resting. Within minutes, he felt dizzy, his vision blurred, and he nearly fell. Thankfully, his wife was nearby and helped him out. At the hospital, the doctor explained that the combination of dehydration and vessel dilation had caused his blood pressure to drop sharply. The immediate shower had pushed his body into a dangerous state. The safer approach is simple. After exercising, give your body at least 15 to 20 minutes to cool down. Sit, drink a glass of water, and let your heart rate return closer to normal before stepping into the bathroom. This short pause allows your circulation to stabilize and reduces the risk of sudden drops in blood pressure. Taking this precaution may feel like a small delay, but it can protect you from a life-threatening event. And as we move forward, we'll look at another everyday mistake, showering right after a heavy meal or taking medication, which can be just as dangerous for older adults. For many older adults, it feels natural to take a shower right after a big meal or after taking daily medications. It seems like a way to feel clean and refreshed. But this simple habit can quietly put the brain at risk. After eating, blood flow shifts towards the stomach and intestines to help with digestion. If you step into the shower immediately afterwards, the warm water pulls blood towards the skin at the same time. That sudden competition leaves the brain with less circulation. And in older adults with fragile vessels, This can create the perfect setting for a stroke. Doctors explain it like a tug-of-war. On one side, the stomach is demanding more blood to break down food. On the other, the skin and vessels are dilating from the heat of the shower. The brain, caught in the middle, is left shortchanged. And when oxygen supply drops, the risk of clots forming or vessels collapsing goes up sharply. Dr. Sharma remembers what happened to her friend's father, Mr. Thompson, who was 65. After a large Sunday lunch, he took his blood pressure medicine and decided to shower right away. Minutes later, he felt weak and collapsed in the bathroom. At the hospital, doctors confirmed that he had suffered a mild stroke. They explained that the timing, eating, taking medication, then showering immediately, had combined to lower circulation to his brain. His family was stunned because it seemed like such an ordinary routine. The solution is straightforward. After eating a meal, wait at least 30 to 60 minutes before showering. This gives your body time to digest without overwhelming the circulation system. If you've just taken medication, especially for blood pressure or the heart, be extra cautious. Sit and rest a while before stepping into the bathroom. Drinking a little water can also help keep blood flowing smoothly. Protecting your health often comes down to patience. Just a short wait can save you from a dangerous outcome. And now that we've explored all 7 risky shower habits, let's bring everything together with a warm reminder about the small choices that truly keep you safe. We've discussed 7 everyday shower habits that may seem ordinary but carry hidden dangers for older adults. What feels like a simple routine, whether it's a late-night bath, a cold splash in the morning, or stepping into the shower right after a meal, can quietly strain the heart, the brain, and fragile blood vessels. Yet, the good news is that every single one of these risks can be reduced with small, thoughtful changes. Drinking a glass of water before bathing, waiting a little while after exercising or eating, or simply paying attention to how your body feels can turn a risky habit into a safe and healthy routine. Your health isn't built on big, dramatic decisions. It's shaped by the small, daily choices you make over time. By protecting yourself in these simple ways, you're not only lowering the chance of a stroke, but also giving yourself more years of independence, energy, and time with the people you love. Think of these habits as small acts of self-care, gifts you give yourself every day. So, Dr. Sharma encourages you to take a moment and ask yourself, which of these habits do you need to adjust in your life? Even one change today can make a difference tomorrow. Have you ever heard of someone who went for a walk in the evening and never came back? It's heartbreaking, but it happens more often than you'd imagine. A quiet evening stroll, something so ordinary and peaceful, turning into a moment that changes everything. And for many older adults, the danger doesn't always come from a fall or traffic. It's something deeper, something happening inside the body, silently. Now, I know what you're thinking. Walking is supposed to be healthy, right? It absolutely is. But not all walks are created equal. The time of day, the weather, even how you move your arms or when you last ate, these can silently turn a harmless stroll into a health hazard. So today, Dr. Anya Sharma will be discussing something most people overlook: 6 walking habits that can actually raise your risk of stroke, especially as we get older. You might be surprised how small changes in your routine can make a big difference in keeping your heart and brain safe. But don't worry, this isn't one of those preachy health talks. Think of this like a friendly chat, just you and me figuring out how to walk smarter, not harder. Some of what you hear might sound familiar, but today we're digging into the why and what you can do to stay safe. If you've ever gone on an evening walk, I want you to type a 1 in the comments. If not, type a 0. And don't forget to subscribe to Health 365 so we can keep bringing you tips that truly matter. Alright, let's dive into the first thing that might be making your evening walks riskier than they should be. Something a lot of people enjoy: evening walks. They feel peaceful. The sun is down, and everything seems to slow down a little. But here's something surprising. Not all evening walks are good for your health. In fact, walking too late at night, especially after 8 o'clock or 9 p.m., could be quietly raising your stroke risk. You see, our bodies follow something called a circadian rhythm, a natural clock that tells us when to be active and when to rest. As the sun goes down, our bodies start to wind down, too. But when you head out for a walk late in the evening, especially brisk walks that get your heart rate up, it can actually send mixed signals to your brain. Instead of calming down, your sympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for your fight or flight response, kicks in. Your heart beats faster, your blood pressure rises, and instead of preparing for rest, your body gets pumped up like it's ready to run a marathon. For older adults, this sudden stimulation late at night can be risky. Higher nighttime blood pressure is one of the biggest hidden threats. Many strokes happen during sleep, and a spike in pressure just before bed might be part of the reason why. In fact, sleep specialists and cardiologists have noticed that patients who regularly exercise late at night often report poorer sleep quality and, in some cases, irregular heart rhythms. Think about it. Have you ever gone for a walk after dinner and then found it hard to fall asleep? That restless feeling, maybe a pounding in your chest, or even waking up at night sweating? That could be your body's way of saying it's overstimulated. And it's not just about sleep. When you walk late, especially after a big meal, your body is doing double duty, digesting food and keeping your muscles moving. This splits the blood flow between your digestive system and your limbs, which can reduce the amount of oxygen reaching your brain. For some folks, especially those with a history of high blood pressure or heart problems, this might tip the balance towards dizziness, lightheadedness, or even more serious events. So, what can you do? Aim to take your walks earlier in the evening, ideally before sunset. Even better, try a gentle, calming walk in the early morning when the air is fresh and your body is naturally waking up. That way, you still get the benefits of movement without messing with your internal clock. Now, let's talk about another walking habit that seems harmless but might actually be hurting your brain without you even realizing it. Have you ever noticed how your body feels during a walk when you're slouched over or staring down at the ground? It might seem like a small thing, but your walking posture could quietly be affecting the amount of oxygen reaching your brain. When we walk with poor posture, head tilted forward, shoulders hunched, arms stiff or not swinging naturally, it messes with more than just how we look. It actually disrupts blood circulation. You see, our body was designed to move in harmony. Proper posture allows our chest to open, our lungs to fill more easily, and our heart to pump efficiently. But when we're bent over, even just a little, that natural flow is interrupted. Less blood flow to the brain means less oxygen and fewer nutrients getting where they need to go. For older adults, this can lead to feeling lightheaded, off balance, or even faint. In some cases, if a person already has underlying vascular issues, it may increase the risk of a mini stroke, or TIA, what doctors call a transient ischemic attack. It might only last a few minutes, but it's often a warning sign that something more serious could be on the horizon. There was a study conducted at the University of Tsukuba in Japan where researchers looked at how posture affected blood flow during walking. They found that when people walked with a forward-leaning posture and limited arm movement, blood flow to the brain dropped significantly compared to those who walked upright and with a natural swing in their stride. That's a big deal, especially for seniors who may already be at risk for circulation problems. Think about your last walk. Were your shoulders relaxed? Were your arms moving freely by your sides? Or were you clutching a phone, looking down, maybe walking with your hands in your pockets? It may seem small, but making a simple shift in how you carry yourself can do wonders for your circulation. Next time you head out, try this. Stand tall, roll your shoulders back, keep your gaze straight ahead, and let your arms swing naturally. You'll not only feel more confident, but you'll also help your brain get the oxygen it needs to keep you sharp and steady. Now, let's explore a walking habit that almost everyone does without thinking, and it has everything to do with what's on your plate. Walking right after a meal might sound like a great idea. A lot of people believe it helps digestion or burns off a few calories from dinner. But here's the thing. If you hit the sidewalk before your body's had a chance to digest, you might be putting your brain at risk without even realizing it. After you eat, your body shifts its focus. Blood rushes to your digestive system to help break down the food, absorb nutrients, and get everything working smoothly. That's why you might feel a little sleepy after a big meal. It's your body redirecting energy inward. But when you start walking too soon, especially at a brisk pace, your muscles start competing for that same blood flow. Your legs are saying, "Hey, we need more oxygen down here," while your stomach is shouting, "I'm still working." And in the middle of that tug-of-war, your brain. Well, when your blood flow is split between digestion and physical activity, the amount of oxygen reaching your brain can drop. That might lead to dizziness, blurred vision, even nausea or confusion. For many people, it just feels like being off. But for folks with a history of high blood pressure, heart issues, or atherosclerosis, those invisible blockages in your arteries, it could trigger a more serious event, like a mini stroke or even a full-blown one. In fact, in a case series published in the Journal of Geriatric Cardiology, several older patients reported lightheadedness or near-fainting episodes shortly after walking post-meal. When monitored, doctors noticed a significant dip in cerebral blood flow during those walks, meaning the brain just wasn't getting what it needed. A friend of Dr. Sharma's, Harold, 72, used to love his evening routine: eat at 6 o'clock, walk at 6:30. Over time, he started noticing headaches and a weird fluttery feeling in his chest halfway through his usual mile. Turns out, he wasn't giving his body enough time to process dinner. Once he shifted his walks to 45 minutes after eating, those symptoms stopped. So, here's the takeaway: walking is great, but timing matters. Give yourself at least 45 minutes, maybe even an hour after eating, especially if it's a large or heavy meal. And if you're feeling full or bloated, it's totally okay to skip the walk altogether that day. There's always tomorrow. Now, let's move on to something outside your control, but fully within your ability to prepare for. The environment you walk in could be quietly working against you. Let's step outside for a moment, literally, because when it comes to walking safely, the temperature around you can be just as important as your pace or your posture. Think back to the last time you went for a walk on a scorching summer afternoon or during a chilly winter morning. It probably didn't feel quite right, did it? Extreme weather, whether it's heat over 95 degrees Fahrenheit or cold under 60 degrees Fahrenheit, puts extra stress on your body, especially your heart and blood vessels. When it's hot, your blood vessels dilate to help you cool down. This sounds like a good thing, but for older adults, especially those with high blood pressure or heart conditions, it can lead to dehydration and a drop in blood pressure that leaves you dizzy or faint. And if you're already on medications like diuretics or beta blockers, that effect can be even stronger. Now, let's flip the temperature dial to cold. In chilly weather, your blood vessels do the opposite. They constrict. That tightening of your arteries can cause your blood pressure to spike suddenly, especially if you're walking uphill or into a strong wind. This sudden pressure surge is risky for people with narrowed arteries or a history of stroke. The American Heart Association has even pointed out that the risk of stroke tends to rise during the colder months, in part due to these vascular reactions. There was a study published in Stroke, a journal by the AHA, showing that people over 65 are more likely to have strokes on days with large temperature swings. The body struggles to adjust, and the cardiovascular system takes the hit. Let me tell you about Mary, a 68-year-old retired teacher Dr. Sharma knows. She used to walk every morning, rain or shine. One winter, she stepped out for her usual route in 40-degree weather, thinking she'd be fine. 10 minutes in, she felt tightness in her chest and had to sit down. Luckily, a neighbor saw her and got help. Turned out her blood pressure had spiked dangerously from the cold and exertion combined. The good news is, you can take control of this. In hot weather, walk early in the morning or closer to sunset, and always bring water. In cold weather, layer up, warm up indoors first, and keep your walks shorter. And most importantly, if the weather feels off, it's okay to skip the walk. Your safety comes first. Coming up next, we're going to look at how the ground beneath your feet might be doing more harm than you think. Something we rarely pay attention to, the ground beneath our feet. It might seem harmless, just part of your neighborhood or favorite walking trail. But uneven, sloped, or bumpy terrain can quietly raise your risk of something far more serious than a twisted ankle. When you walk on hilly or rough surfaces, your body has to work harder to stay balanced. Your heart rate jumps up quicker, your breathing becomes more intense, and your leg muscles have to engage more deeply to keep you steady. That extra exertion may feel like a good workout, but for seniors, especially those with high blood pressure or fragile blood vessels, it can turn risky fast. Here's why. Sudden changes in physical effort can cause sharp spikes in blood pressure. And if you're already dealing with weakened arteries, that sudden surge could potentially lead to a rupture, what doctors call a hemorrhagic stroke. Even worse, if there's plaque buildup in your arteries, those extra physical demands could loosen a piece of that plaque, creating a clot that might travel to the brain and cause an ischemic stroke. A group of researchers from the University of California once studied older adults walking on different types of surfaces. They found that when participants walked uphill or on uneven terrain, their systolic blood pressure increased significantly more than when walking on flat ground. That sudden rise might only last a few minutes, but it's enough to trigger real danger in someone with vascular vulnerabilities. Dr. Sharma remembers Jim, a 74-year-old former contractor who loved hiking in the hills behind his house. One day, after a particularly steep climb, he suddenly felt weak and confused. He sat down, tried to catch his breath, but something wasn't right. He was rushed to the ER and diagnosed with a minor stroke. His doctor later explained that the combination of effort and heat had pushed his blood pressure too high, too fast. To protect yourself, choose flat, even walking paths whenever possible, local parks, walking tracks, or quiet sidewalks. If you really love the challenge of a hill, take it slow. Stop often. Monitor how you feel. And if your doctor has told you that your blood pressure is unstable, avoid steep paths altogether. Next, we're going to cover one final walking mistake, and this one's incredibly common, yet so easy to fix. It has everything to do with what you're not doing before your walk. A habit that almost no one talks about, yet it affects every single walk you take. Hydration, or more specifically, the lack of it. Walking while even slightly dehydrated can quietly set the stage for something far more serious than dry lips or fatigue. It can thicken your blood, raise your risk of clots, and even increase your chance of a nighttime stroke. Here's how it works. When you're not well hydrated, your blood becomes more concentrated, thicker, if you will. That thicker blood flows more slowly and has a greater tendency to form clots. For someone who's older, especially with a history of high cholesterol or vascular disease, this can create the perfect storm. And the danger doesn't always hit right away. It often creeps in after your walk when your body is trying to rest and recover. Nighttime is when your body naturally slows down. Your heart rate drops, and blood flow becomes more sluggish. If your blood is already thick from dehydration earlier in the day, that slower flow can allow tiny clots to form. And if one of those clots travels to your brain while you sleep, it can trigger a stroke without warning. That's why so many strokes happen in the early morning hours. There was a study published in the journal Neurology that found a clear link between low fluid intake and increased risk of ischemic stroke in older adults. People who consistently drank less than 1.5 liters of water per day had significantly higher clot formation markers in their blood work. It's a silent risk, but it's very real. Dr. Sharma remembers one woman, Betty, 76, who was always on top of her fitness. She walked every afternoon, stayed active, ate well, but she hated drinking water. Said it made her feel bloated. One night, after her usual evening walk and dinner, she felt fine. But early the next morning, she woke up with slurred speech and weakness on one side. She'd had a minor stroke. Her doctor told her later that chronic dehydration, especially after exercise, had likely contributed. So, here's what you can do. Before you go for a walk, drink a glass of water. After you return, drink another. It doesn't have to be a gallon, but around 8 to 16 ounces on either side of your walk can go a long way. And remember, if you're sweating a lot or walking in hot weather, you'll need even more. Now that we've explored these 6 surprising habits, let's wrap up with a warm thought and a few words that I hope will stick with you long after this video ends. Walking is a gift, simple, free, and healing. But like any gift, it comes with responsibility. The way we walk, when we walk, and how we prepare our bodies for it can either support our health or slowly chip away at it. The habits we've talked about today may seem small, even harmless, but over time they carry real weight, especially as we grow older and our bodies become more sensitive to change. Remember, walking should bring peace, not pressure. With just a few thoughtful adjustments, staying hydrated, choosing the right time, paying attention to posture, you can keep your walk safe, energizing, and truly beneficial. No need for drastic changes, just a little more awareness and a lot more care. Have you ever wondered if the way you're sitting right now could quietly be putting your life at risk? Imagine this, you're sitting in your favorite armchair, TV on, a warm drink in hand. Seems harmless, right? But what if I told you that something as routine as sitting could be silently increasing your chances of having a stroke? In today's video, Dr. Anya Sharma will gently open a door to a topic that rarely gets the spotlight: how some of our most common sitting habits, the ones we don't even think twice about, might actually be quietly hurting our health. But don't worry, this isn't about scaring you. It's about awareness, about small changes that could make a big difference. I'm not going to list facts or throw medical terms at you. Instead, we're going to have a conversation, just you and me, about habits, comfort, and your well-being. If you're someone who spends a lot of time sitting, watching TV, reading, working on a puzzle, or even chatting with loved ones, this video is especially for you. Now, before we begin, I'd love to know, have you ever thought about how your sitting position could affect your health? Type 1 if yes, 0 if no, and make sure to subscribe to Health 365 so you never miss a video that could protect your future. So, let's take a closer look at the first habit, one that's more dangerous than most people realize. A habit so ordinary, most people don't even question it, just sitting still for long stretches of time. Maybe you're curled up on the couch watching your favorite movie, sitting at the kitchen table chatting with family, or even knitting in your cozy chair by the window. It all seems harmless, comforting even. But when we stay in one position for too long, especially without moving our legs, we might unknowingly be setting the stage for something dangerous. You see, when we sit motionless for a while, the blood flow in our body, especially in the lower limbs, slows down. It's kind of like a river with no current. Eventually, things start to settle and clump together. This slow flow makes it easier for blood to thicken and form clots, particularly in the legs. If one of those clots breaks free and makes its way to the brain, it could block the blood supply and cause a stroke. What's most troubling is that it often happens without warning. And it doesn't take hours upon hours. It can start quietly while we're just enjoying our usual routine. But don't worry, I'm not saying you have to be on your feet all day or give up your favorite seat by the window. Sitting isn't the enemy, it's the stillness. Our bodies, even in their golden years, thrive on movement. It doesn't have to be intense or tiring. It just needs to happen. Start with simple changes. Set a gentle reminder on your phone or clock. Every 30 to 60 minutes, just stand up, stretch your legs, roll your shoulders, or take a few steps. If you're watching TV, use commercial breaks as cues to move. Even something as small as flexing your ankles, wiggling your toes, or rotating your feet in circles while seated can help pump blood through your veins. Another easy trick: keep a small water bottle beside you. Not only will you stay hydrated, essential for healthy circulation, but it naturally gives you a reason to stand up and refill it. Bonus, regular hydration makes you get up for bathroom breaks, too, which also counts as movement. So, the next time you find yourself settling in for a cozy afternoon, remember, just a few moments of movement every now and then can quietly protect your health. Alright, now let's move on to a sitting habit that may seem elegant or relaxed, but has its own hidden risks. Something that almost all of us have done without a second thought: crossing our legs while we sit. It feels natural, even graceful. Some people say it's more comfortable. Others see it as polite or proper posture. But sitting with your legs crossed for long periods can actually create hidden problems, especially when it comes to your circulation. When you cross one leg over the other, especially if you do it the same way every time, you're placing extra pressure on the veins in your lower limbs. This pressure can,